Hello, I'm Annie, and this is a 10-minute stretch which I've created for whatever it is that you're doing today. So maybe you're getting ready to go and do some exercise, maybe you've just done some exercise, or maybe this 10-minute stretch is your exercise for today, for the week. It's just 10 minutes of full body stretching just to get a little bit more comfortable in the body that you are in today. So we're taking inspiration from some of my favorite stretches in yoga. We'll still be using the breath, but we're going to cut straight to the physical part of this and let it be really about the way that we're supporting our body in lengthening and opening up and softening into a more spacious experience. So we're going to begin by coming to standing, but in a forward fold. Now, this can be static, or you can be a little bit more dynamic, and kind of depends what you've been doing in your day until now. Maybe it's first thing in the morning. If the body isn't warm, if the body's kind of feeling super stiff, then rather than holding really still, you probably want to bring a little bit of movement in just to ease your way into the shape. And it doesn't need to look or feel like anything really, but we're offering this opportunity to open up through the back body. Depending where you've got tension, it could be the calves, the hamstrings, the lower back, maybe the neck, the shoulders. Anywhere really, each of us are different. We hold different patterns of tension depending on so many different lifestyle factors, natural variations between each of us, and so on. So I've done a lot of movement today, and I'm going to hold still, but just remembering to keep it a little bit dynamic if the body isn't warm, just to gently ease your way in rather than forcing your body to hold a shape that it might not be ready to hold just yet. If you're pretty tight and you're feeling this quite intensely, just make sure you're softening the knees as well. And you'll notice that in softening the knees, you probably can fold a little bit further forwards. And it doesn't matter how far you fold, but it's just an interesting observation, right? That softening in the knees just brings a little bit of release. We don't have to force the legs straight. Good. And then we're going to pad the hands forward, come up to a downward facing dog, and pedal through the heels, but don't just pedal aimlessly. Really think about the way that the body is opening up as you stretch through each leg. So it doesn't matter if the heels touch the floor or not, but you're just breathing into the backs of the legs, finding space there. And maybe it's fluid, maybe you're holding steady, but really, again, just lengthening the spine, not forcing the legs to be straight. Good. Now from here, drop the knees down to the floor and send your hips to your heels. We're coming into child's pose, so you might want to widen the knees a little bit. Depending on how the hips feel, the wider the knees go, the more this comes into the groin. The narrower the knees are, the more this flexes through the spine. So choose something that feels good for you. You can keep it a little bit more active by coming up onto the fingertips. That starts to work a little stretch into the shoulders at the same time. And then you can walk the hands over to the right. Keep drawing the left hip towards the left heel. And feel that stretch through the left side of the body. And then come back through the center and take it over to the other side. Good. Now coming back into the center. We're going to come up onto all fours and just take a little bit of movement through the spine or the cat-cows as you inhale, lift the chest forward. And exhale, round the spine, tuck the tailbone. Now this is the pattern of breath that I like, using the inhale coming through our cow pose and exhale to cat, but some people like to practice the other way around, so totally up to you. Find a connection to your breath that feels good with this movement. Nice. And then we're going to tuck the toes again, come up to downward facing dog. Now reach the right leg up behind you and then look forwards and place the shin to the top of the mat. So push the ground away with the hands. That right shin comes to the top of the mat. We're going to take pigeon pose. Now, pigeon pose isn't accessible for everyone. If you're feeling super tight or there's any other reason that that doesn't work for us, and you can come onto the back of the body, place the right foot on the left thigh for a figure four stretch. So there's always options. And you can be up on the hands, or if there's space to fold forwards, you could fold forwards. And ideally, we want to hold the stretches for around 30 seconds or so. I'm not timing exactly, but it's a little bit longer than we might want to stay in the stretch for. And then we're swapping over to the other side. So come back to downward facing dog. Reach the left leg up. And then place the shin to the top of the mat. All right, let's walk the hands up if you're folded forwards. We're going to come back to downward facing dog and then release the knees down to the middle of the mat. And sit your hips down between your heels. Now, if you have sensitive knees, you can do this with one leg at a time. We're just going to stretch out through the quads. So you can always place something underneath the hips, but we're looking to get a stretch through the quads, the hip flexors, and you might get that just by being upright. Certainly, if you have been doing a number of exercises or not doing too much to move your body at all, the quads can get super tight. So maybe you stay upright. Really mindful of sensitive knees here. If you have got a lot of space, you could come down onto the back of the body. But again, if this starts to present into the knees, then you've gone too far. We're just gently opening up. It's also worth pointing out that if the tops of the feet feel very uncomfortable against the floor, you can always place a blanket, a towel, or your jumper or something just as a little bit of padding underneath the tops of the feet. All right, so let's come all the way up. You're going to take the feet from underneath you. Last stretch here, soles of the feet come together. It doesn't matter how close the heels are to the groin, just find a butterfly shape. Again, maybe being upright is enough of a stretch, or perhaps you fold forwards to a place that feels fine for you and your body. And then lifting up. Now, of course, if there's any areas of the body that you think might need a little bit of attention, you can always take stretches through the triceps, through the biceps, or anywhere else that you might need to bring a little bit more space into. If there's anything you need, make sure you continue to stretch, and I'll see you very soon. I hope you enjoyed this short stretching session. If you'd like to join me for yoga classes, meditation, breath work, and so much more, then come and join me on The Practice, my on-demand yoga studio. I've shared the link for a 7-day free trial in the box below, and I hope to see you there very soon.